Welcome back, everybody. Episode 2 for the video segments. We've got Chris on today from At Lunch and Tophskis. Chris, finally got you here, mate, after a wee bit of hunting down. For those that don't know you, for those that haven't had a meal out of lunch or Tophskis and they're sick in the heat, obviously we're going to talk today about how lunch came about. I know obviously your dad started it off and you were in a different kind of job at that point, but from your point of view, anytime I've got a guest on, I always like to go back to kind of school and things like that. What was Chris like at school? What kind of pupil was Chris McInnes? That's what I want to know.
What pupil? The class clown. He wasn't very good at academics, I can tell you that. Basically, I love school. I love people. Right. But I was never good at studying. Like, my family went to Florida quite a lot. Right. And like, I remember, I'll tell you a quick story. In my higher years, my teachers have said to me, they're like, Chris, you cannot go to Florida. Like, for this is like my family holiday. Right. You know what I mean? So they've saved up for like 3 years and they're like, we're going for a month, right? So he's like, you're doing higher maths. There's no way you can go there and I'm like, I'll study every day, don't worry about it. Like,
so is this like during the term?
This is during the term. Brilliant. This is like November, right? So before the prelims. And he's like to me, there's no way that you can do this. And I'm like, every day I'm there, right? So this sums me up. He comes back and I've not studied one. Like, I've not done one day of study. I've been at every theme park in Florida. And he's like that to me, right, we're going to get you a prelim. And then once you're done your prelim, everybody else will get the results.
Right.
So he goes like that to me. We're looking at the results and I'm like, looking up at a smart board and I'm like, I see him and I'm like, sir. And he's like, leave it. He's looking at me and he's like, leave it. And I'm thinking, no, sir, like, you must have them. There's only one Chris. There's no, you know what I mean? There's only one Chris up there and there's two Chris's in the class. And he's like, I'll speak to you at the end of class. And I'm like, no, I need to know my results. If I'm doing this, how I'm getting on it higher. Everybody you're sitting, I'm looking at it's 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 40s.
And you're still not there at that point? I'm
still not there and I'm like, what's going on here? And he does that with one click. It's like 4%. 4%. And I'm like,
shit.
Somebody shouted it back in class. You get 5% for spelling your name right. So that's the type of like, I was too busy and trying to like have a laugh. I was in fairly clever, but no compared to the like
just the studying side of it.
The studying side, the homework side, never applying myself when like a lot of my teachers, like when they found out I left school and went straight into retail, they were like, wait a minute, like you never went into further education. Like, I'm a bit shocked, but a waste of time. I kind of worried about that as well. Like if I'd went to like uni or college or something like that, then I'd have just think I would have messed it. You know what I mean? Like,
was it always in your mind to just leave no matter what happened with your exams, or were you waiting to see what the results were?
It was more waiting on the results, but they didn't come. So I was looking to go to business at uni, but never get the results. Like when exams, like I just flap. See, when it comes, when the pressure comes, I could study all year, and then it gets to like the pressure times. I could not think. Like, we talk about this, like, me and my family, and I say these questions are set up like your teachers are prepared you all year long, and it comes, and I'm telling them, it doesn't suit me any of the questions, you know. I'm like, they literally are following a guide. So, that's just, when the pressure was on back then, I was like, I just couldn't manage it. Like,
how was your mum and that when you told them about the result? Well, not even the results, the 4% one.
Oh, they were, mate, honestly, I don't think I told her. Just get put in the end too. That was me straight away. But I think the exams were a bit devastating, like considering like they'd had quite high hopes at the time. They thought, oh, like he's going to uni. And it wasn't to be, man. It was not to be.
So see, at that point, did you have an idea in your mind that it was going to be retail for you? Or what happened for kind of your exams to there?
No, just kind of I think it was just start applying for stuff. Like college was so far away at that point. Didn't know what I really wanted to do because I put all my eggs in the one basket. Really, I wasn't really sure where I was going for there. So my old boy was like, "Here, it's time to get out of the house. Like, cannot be sitting in here.
Get a job.
You need to get out and get a job. Like, especially the time August rolls around. You're not in college. You've not applied for college. And I remember going to what's the days, like they have the functions, everybody's there, like
a recruitment careers fair thing.
Like careers fair, that's what it was. Like, so it's up the back of, and before this I just gave everybody CVs, like I did it in everywhere. I remember going to careers fair and I was like, my mate, this, like, it was some engineering like places and stuff like that. I was like, this isn't for me. I was like, you want to go KFC and go watch see Step Brothers? And this is just how. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call, like when I come out for watching having a KFC Step Brothers, and it's River Island on the phone. And they're like, we'd like to offer you come up for an interview. We've got your CV. I still don't know to this day how that CV ended up in River Island. Like, I was the least fashionable person on the planet as well. So I went to an interview and absolutely hammed it up and saying like, oh, look after my brother and sister and like whatnot. And I get the job and start 16 hours in there and then slowly like work my way up in the company. So I loved it. I loved it in there. And it was great. See, because they had such a young staff at the time. So I'm meeting like River Island at the Fort. This is so it's like another 60. Let's say Wayne's like young adults my age. You know what I mean? Who all want to go out and take dancings and whatnot. You know what I mean? So
you're getting paid for it.
You're getting paid to come hang about with your pals. You know, so it was absolutely fantastic. See, at the time, I loved it. First, I think I stayed in River Island for like, I want to say 8 years.
Right.
So like it just kind of like...
Did you just work your way up then?
16, like then went to full-time, went to supervisor, went to manager.
Right.
And then worked my way around like 5. Like the only way we move up in the company is kind of like moving away from your store.
Yep.
Because the people that you're growing up with, they're never really going to respect you.
Aye.
You know, so... Like, because it's like your mates. You can't really do team talks if all your pals are just sitting there like sniggering at you.
Next day you're like, I'm the boss.
Like. They're just not going to have that. So I had to move from the Fort, which is like what it was like one of the biggest, like, remember when the Fort first came about, like everybody was going mad for it. Huge. Moved from the Fort to Parkhead, covering maternity.
Right.
Then Parkhead, this was just to make sure, like, that's the hardest thing is trying to get, like, especially a young guy at this stage. I'm like 19, maybe even not younger. No, 19, if I must have been about that age. Then moved from Parkhead to Stirling.
Oof.
So that's, and again, like, but again, the only way you make money
he's moving about.
So it goes to Stirling, works in Stirling for a year.
Right.
Then Silverburn ask, like, they've got a position, so that's an even bigger, like, menswear store. You know what I mean? So I goes and does that for another year. Then Braehead, who's like, everybody knows how busy Braehead is. Like, they were, like, at the time, they're just, that menswear was just taking funny money. And like, my boss at the time, Richard Thomas, that's my guy. He was like, like, me and him never really got on at the start. Went to the menswear at Braehead and absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Loved working for the company. Loved everything about it. Like, just I was the guy.
Good place to work.
It was just, it felt amazing. Like, it was one of the, like, and then eventually my original store, the Fort, they asked to come back for me.
Right.
They're like, oh, we'll get it. But I was happy at Braehead. So this is what I'll always say to people, like, I got offered extra money at the time, got it in Braehead, and I was like, oh, like, there's managers that are on buttons, like, but less, like, they're on less money than I was on at Braehead, and I was just kind of like, the Fort came along, and the money never comes in a big company like that, so when it comes along, you've got to take it.
Definitely.
And even my boss at the time was like, Chris, I can't match it. So take it, and then if it comes back, like, we're still in the same company, you know, like, we'll see each other, like, whatever. Went back to the Fort and always say it was one of my biggest mistakes I ever made. Like,
Aye.
just I'll never ever do anything for money again. Like,
Did you realise right away?
no. I was excited about
Aye.
it, but I forgot that I wasn't going back to my mates. My mates had all moved on.
Right.
These 60 people that I grew
Aye.
up with, or some of them were there maybe like 10, 15.
Aye.
But like, to be honest, like I still enjoyed it, but that was kind of like the final nail in the coffin, like
Aye.
with my time in retail. It's sad, like, but just I think everybody's got an expiration
Aye.
date, and like with these things, especially in like it's a young man's game,
Aye.
retail.
It's hard going as well at times. It's really hard going.
Yep. So I gets to like a year in, and I'm like starting to become. I've always been a happy guy at work. Like everybody will tell you.
Aye.
It's always been. I've always looked forward to going to work. All of a sudden, I'm starting struggling getting to work, and I'm
Aye.
like, wait a minute here, this
Aye.
isn't right. So, like my dad had a cafe at the time, and he was like, I'll match your wages. Like,
Aye.
anything I've got today, get you in the door, so
Aye.
you're happy again. Like, it wasn't like, I would never say like I was really badly upset.
Aye.
I could just feel like
You were changing.
There was a change, like like struggling to get out of bed in the morning.
Aye.
That was never me. I just
Aye.
pop out of bed.
Were other people noticing that as well?
No, I was trying to tell them, like trying to say them, like say to people in my work, like
Aye.
this isn't working any longer. Like I don't feel like myself. But back then, we're talking 5 years ago, like mental health wasn't really something people wanted to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, and which is fair enough. Like I'm not really up or down about it. You know what I mean? Like my struggle wasn't anything in comparison to what other people were. So, like I say, my dad came to me and he was like, here,
Aye.
I'm happy for you. Like, I'll match your wages. Like, if you want to do this. So it gets to a certain point and I just puts my month's notice in.
Aye.
It's quite a hard thing to do, considering it was all new.
Definitely.
It was all new, so I didn't really want to like leave in bad terms either.
Aye.
You know, but everything just ran its course.
Aye.
And then by the end of it, like it was time. It was
Aye.
time. So that was a quick rundown of my career, one other job.
But it's good though in the sense of I'm with you. Obviously, there's times where if somebody does offer you money, you do jump at it because that's what you're thinking about, and you're thinking, I've already worked in this company for X amount of years, so it'll be fine.
Yeah,
I'll just need to get used to it, but it doesn't always work.
I changed job roles and like went back to I'd been a product manager for like the whole time since I'd been a manager. So I'd moved away for like when I first started, I was sales and service.
Aye.
You know what I mean? And then by the time like 5 years had passed or whatever, being a manager, I'd been asked to go back to a sales and service role. By then, it's such pressure, and like it was back to like the thought of having this massive big store. Like I say, it just never. It is what it is.
Aye.
I don't have any ill will towards anybody or like that. Like you cannot, like these people are just doing a job as well. Like the pressures for the company were massive back then.
Aye. Do you think you could go back to it now?
What's store?
Anyone but the thought?
No, that's terrible. Like I say, I think I would never go back.
No,
never go back. Like I say, I was young at the time. Like it's a young man's game.
Aye. No,
I don't think I could manage it. Like I'd like to go, but I always have that dream.
Aye.
Sometimes you're getting in the stockroom, you're getting shouted at, and I'm like, what happened? You know?
Oh man. So right here, at that point, your dad's gave you the option to come in at the cafe with him.
Yep.
How long had the cafe been running for at that point?
I think he'd been running that about 1.5 years, 2 years.
Right.
But it's like, because I wasn't even focused on the cafe at the time. He was just running it as a wee quiet roll shop. He was happy running it like that. Like just one pair, like, just the local, like the wee old buddies and whatnot. Cups of tea, you know what I mean, rolling sausage. He's massive on the people. Yeah, I mean, I'm a people person as well, but he is really focused on the local community. Like he would have his wee old buddies come in every single day. Still to this day, some of them come in. You know, like they've been coming here for 6-7 years. You know, because of him.
That's unreal. And did you see at that point? Obviously, you've handed your notice in because you just want to get out of there. Did you see it turning out the way it has done at that point? Or where was your mind at? Were you thinking, I'll do this for a wee while and regroup and see where I am?
I said to him, like, I knew what it was like watching a big company operate. And I was like, if we if I can even take like 1% of this company, the way it's been ran, and I'm trying to apply it to a small cafe structure, open like daft things like opening things, my old boy would be quick to just back up and go. See if it was sunny, he'd be like, I'm out here. But I'm like, people need reliability. Like his food was good, and I was like, why are we not advertising this? Like all the basics were there. He's massive on no cutting corners. Always give the customer extra. I know how good I was at customer service as well because of my time in retail. I was like, I could sell ice to Eskimos, you know. So I was like, I can do this. I can take this another step. For what, like, you won't have to work as much. So that's kind of.
And was he on board with it, or did you need to kind of drag him?
No, I've absolutely forced him out the door. I actually pushed my dad into retirement. But we are so different. So different. Like I'm work is work, and like then there's time for play. But he is like he's wanting to like carry on and like you know what I mean. Like, and that's just not me. I've only, like I say, all my working life I only knew strict rules. So I was like, saw business because customers don't like to see that as far as I'm aware. Like, especially if you're dealing with their food. That's you know, it. But he wasn't like, he was high on quality in food as well, but he also wanted to have a bit of banter and that. But it just seemed like the bigger these companies get, like the more it opens you up. Like just daft behaviour, you know, but that's just him. So me and him, like, we were ham on tongs for like 2 years.
But then the thing that when I was kind of looking into the company and all that, and obviously we'll touch on Tophskis as well, but between the both of them, you could fill the new camp with the followers you've got across both pages. So, and I know you're saying about the advertising and that, but when I look at other companies and they advertise, they're nowhere near that. It's madness. Like, it's wild. I tell people, like, I think my group chat are sick hearing about it. I'm like, there would literally be enough people to fill Old Trafford and have people waiting outside to come in and see what I'm selling. It's crazy. Like, how did you start it? But how did you? Because you obviously come and say to Dad, I can push this advertising if you let me. But what were the kind of early steps for you?
It's hard to recall when I was like, I'm going to put this in. I don't remember who I seen doing it first, and I was like, oh, that's quite clever. Like, I think butchers were the first people kind of like doing videos of their stock, showing their stuff, and I was like, why is nobody showing the actual food, like what's inside the food? You know, if you go back to the pictures for like 2 years, some shockers, they're absolutely terrible. I thought like I had like an iPhone 8 at the time, like you know, there was iPhone 10s out at the time. So I was like, just if people see it, eat with your eyes.
Definitely.
Eat with your eyes. And I was like, people see it and there might be the odd chance that they'll come. If that get you come in and you go, by the way, like at lunch, it's all right saying like you're telling somebody else, but if you post it online, you've got 100 followers, 100 people have just seen that, and then that's the way the world works right now, unfortunately, is people will go, I want to go try that.
That's it. And that's how that's how I first found out about it, because one of the boys put a thing in the group chat and I'm like, where'd you get that?
I know.
And the thing is, see when you said about postings earlier, it was fucking massive. And that's the first time, because we're all greedy bastards in Scotland, so you're just like, I'm there.
Billy never even opened a Sunday when I first went there, and I'm like, that's the one day of the week that I'm desperate. Like,
Hangover Central.
If I've had a drink, I was like, I need some cheese, like, I need something deep fried, like, just to make myself feel human again. So, he was opposed to it, and I was like, I'll open Sundays. Like, let me prove to you that it'll work. Like,
because you didn't have chips either, didn't you?
Never had chips either, no. Never had nothing. Like,
see, when you think of that in Glasgow, but it's
I know, like
insane.
It was just him doing like cold rolls, hot rolls. I don't even know what else he done. Soups. So like, you can imagine how much it's changed. Like, and it's hard. It's hard to keep up because I'm just always changing it. Always looking for something else, you know.
See, from your point of view, was there a moment or a kind of a period of time where you were like, this is getting massive here. This is getting out of control.
I remember being at like, we got to like 16k followers. And I was like, if we post one of these competitions, this is going to get out of control. Like, and we've got a manager that works with us, Louise, and she was like, Chris, please, like, me, it was just free as it worked there. It was me, Louise, and another lassie, like, and we were trying to set up, like, I was doing deliveries, like, I was just trying to get as much business in as possible, like schools and that, like, and I was like, I'm just going to press it, Louise, we'll get somebody else, we'll buy her. And she's like, Chris, I cannot do any more than what we're doing. Jeez. I've just pressed post and it just went, my phone on seeing competition day, my phone was just like, I was going to like 0% battery in like 15-20 minutes because the amount of people that were just posting at the time. Like, don't get me wrong, like iPhone 8 at the time as well, so it wasn't helping things.
Charge it on 8 and use it twice and that's it done. That's insane.
So I remember thinking, like, this is it. Like, this is the change. Like, this is starting to get a wee bit popular. Like, we never had any systems in place. We never had a app. We never, like, people were just coming. A Saturday, Sunday was just, like, manic.
Many people were you getting a day at that point, like, roughly?
I can't tell you. I honestly could not get it.
Just constant?
It was nothing compared to what it is, like, now. Like, obviously, like, but, like I say, that's what, there was no system. Mm-hmm. There was it was just somebody to till. Like, it was an old till as well. It wasn't even like an EPOS till. I'm talking about, like, you want a Chipotle wrap, like, and then it's going in the back saying how long, and like there's 30 people just waiting in front of you. I get like I think I've got like some sort of post-traumatic stress, like I've got a nightmare, right? And I cannot get the tickets out to people quick enough. Like, there's only 3 doing the kitchen, and I'm like everybody's just reaching. So it's it was stressful. That was when it was at its worst, when it was like, because you're trying to get people in the door who can do the job, but you're also trying to hit the same standard.
For bringing staff in.
And that's the problem, like getting them trained up in time. And it is, like, we've went through a lot of stuff just because, like, they don't get in the time.
Do you think people before they come in don't realise just how quick it is until they're in there? And
I
then
think
it's
it's a bit of a baptism of fire. I really do. Like, I think it's quite unfortunate for us. That's just the way we run. Like, some people have been able to run with us. Like, we've built up a good team over time. But it's the business has been growing. And like, when it's at the growing stage, like, it's hard for me to, especially me, or to take a staff member aside and say, like, I'm going to spend 2 weeks with you. But we managed. We got there. Like, we served people. Try to get it out as quickly as possible, but like, I'm always trying to, like, make the business better. I'm constantly trying to make it easier for the staff, make it easier for the customer. Sometimes that's just like upgrading the equipment, stuff like that. Like, back in the day, like, we've probably had like a hot plate,
and that was it.
And all these people are trying to cut one hot plate, and I'm just like, what can we do?
But I suppose the thing is, even at that point, they people stuck with you as well, because they all kept coming back and ordering. That's
what the one thing I go like that. Like, it's crazy. Like, I would say that standard back then was massively lower. It worries me a wee bit as well, because I'm like, they people back then, let's say like 1 in every 10, like, hates it. You know, like, you never really seen, like, some people are just say, oh, at lunch is rubbish. And I'm like, right, that's fair dues, like, it might have been, but the one thing I do know about the staff is progression is massive for me. Like, things have got to get upgraded, like, standards have got to increase. Don't really care about the money, like, I'd rather, have some sort of legacy.
But I know what you're saying though, because you look at it, you're talking about that time you had like 16,000, you're sitting at 83 now, so you went from there to right off the stratosphere, and it's still getting bigger. Do you know what I mean? It's not really, it doesn't slow down.
I've never used the sponsor, so say, like, you can sponsor an ad. I've never done that. Never, like, really promoted it. Like, it's crazy. Like, I know it sounds daft, but I've never, like, paid for followers or anything like that. Like, there's
just word of mouth.
It's been word of mouth the whole time, and like, I just think, like, because I was the first person kind of doing it at the time, like, it's just grew arms and legs, and every now and again you get your finger on the pulse, you catch it, but people are scared. Like, that's what I think sometimes. Like, I've done like hundreds of absolute rubbish. Like, the staff slaughter me because I put up breakfast nachos, and they were like breakfast nachos. That's disgusting. I think I sold like 3 of them, but that's not the point. Like so you've got to
try.
You got to try. Like I was like, who's doing breakfast nachos in Glasgow at the time? Like
that's it.
Absolutely, but they absolutely rinsed me. That is my.
But then you must have. What ones have you brought out and it's just hit the mirror load right away and it's like gold dust?
Kunzel wrap.
Aye.
The Kunzel wrap that I was getting, my phone was like, it was a joke. It was an absolute joke. The papers have got a hold of that and everything.
Aye, that was, see at the time, I remember, you know, like when you're on Instagram and you can look and it gives you like other people's stories.
Yeah.
All I was seeing was wraps with like a breakfast in it and you're like, what is that? It was everywhere.
The Kunzel wrap had a potato smile in it, right? So I call it smiley face.
Aye.
Like, potato, what do people call them?
I call them smiley faces.
Aye,
like
smiley
the ones
faces.
you get, the frozen ones.
Aye, so like it had
face.
a big smiley face with curry sauce doused in it and all that. And people were like, "Hi, the papers are phoned up," and they were like, "What is it? This is classism and all that." And I was like, I'm for a scheme." I was like, "Don't you dare!" I was like, "Aye." So like, I was like, "It's just a wrap. Like, it's just turkey dinosaurs." You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying not to upset people. I was like, I've been chased at my own scheme. Like, you can't come back to me now and say that's, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think I'd ever hear the words classism in a smiley face.
I know. I'm like,
I'm
like, people were getting like offended by it, and I was just kind of like, what's going on?
Actual like messages and things like that, or just
aye? Absolutely, absolutely offended by it. And then I was just kind of like, see, at the end of the day, it's just a laugh.
Aye.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to buy it, like, you don't need to buy it. You know what I mean? People went mad for it.
Aye.
Mad for it. But sometimes chips. When we first launched chips, we kept chips for Tophskis as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when Tophskis were launching, we were like, right, this is where we'll do chips, because it gives Tophskis something different that at lunch hasn't got.
Aye.
You know, and that went to like something crazy, like at the time, like 500,000 reach on Facebook or something like that. Like, and it's just every now and again you watch your numbers jump.
Mm-hmm.
But like, sometimes it jumps with the bad as well.
Aye.
It does. Aye. It does. Like the followers, like, and that's what I never knew at the time. Like, the good and the bad, the followers go up.
Aye.
You know, as long as you're behaving yourself, like on the socials.
Aye.
If you make mistakes, like, I'm the first person to hold my hand up and say,
aye,
it wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's where a lot of people were like, right, okay.
Aye.
I've had power cuts in Tophskis. People like, I'm like, I cannot even.
But it happens though.
It does, and people see you say to people, by the way, I am so sorry.
Aye.
Like, this is a new business.
Mm-hmm.
We're still going through, like, but then you get the one person that goes, that's not good enough. But
aye,
you're going to lose that customer. But the genuine people come back.
That's it, and it doesn't matter what you do, you're always going to get that one person or that comment.
It's took me a long time to realise that, like, you cannot please everybody.
No. You
cannot please everybody. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, it doesn't matter if I could put a Michelin star, like, standard food, people will still find a flaw.
Aye.
I say people all the time, I go to, like, every other, I've been in all the big restaurants in Glasgow, and there's millions of them I don't like. No millions, but there's a lot of them I don't like. A lot of, like, highly rated ones, and
aye.
But I don't go on social media and blast them, because you end up, like, you just, it's the trade. Like, I don't have to put my opinion out there just because, like, that's for me.
Aye. No, definitely.
I don't have to put it online just because I don't like a place.
Aye.
You know. But
how do you find the social media interaction? But given the journey that you have went on, and you've grew that quickly, how do you find it? Because you're having to get stuff out constantly to kind of keep up with demand. But how do you find the whole interaction side of it?
Like, with interaction, I'm just kind of like, I used to love it. Got past the stage, 30,000, 40,000.
Right.
Like, I still try and say every single person who comes in the shop, like, they post about the place, I still send a message saying thank you every day. Like, so it means the word is, you know what I mean? Like, somebody else's post, they're promoting it's free promotion, you know, and they're letting their mates know, and then their mates are going to come. Like, had one girl came from Dundee, like, during lockdown. She came to Dundee during lockdown, and I think I got half of Dundee in. Like, somebody, like, it was so I enjoy the interaction. It will never be it'll never be lost on me.
Aye.
You know,
Aye.
you've got to stay like, I don't care. Like, I try and treat it like as if there's no 83,000 people there.
Aye.
It's still that customer outside the door. Like, I still want to know that, like, if they ask me, like, my story, I'm happy to hear theirs as well.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Like,
Aye.
I don't care about the followers. That's the truth. Like, I love having them, but when they're gone, I'll still be there.
Aye.
You know, like, that's 100%. The way I look at it, and I'll still have the local customers. I'll still have my regular customers.
Aye.
And so it's wonderful. It's wonderful, mate. I absolutely love, like, it's a lot at times though.
Aye.
Getting messages 1, 2 in the morning saying, like, what time do you open?
Oh, really?
You still do the deliveries, and I'm
just
like,
folk that are wrecked.
Please let me sleep. Yeah. A lot of people just turn after, and like, I kind of treat it like it's kind of like my baby. You know what I mean? Like, try and look after it and make sure, like, I go, if I answer that question or that customer feels better, where's your menu?
Aye.
Rather than just put the menu up online, you know, like.
Do you find it hard to switch off? But
100%. 100%. I don't think that's been the hardest thing. Like, you just, like I say, you take the good with the bad, you know, but that's been hard. Like, see, taking days off the first 2 years, still to this day, every day I try and make sure that I go to the shops at least once or twice. You know what I mean? Like, just to go check in with the staff, see the managers, find out the problems, try and solve. I just think it's good to be trying to have your finger on the pulse with the business. You know, I think you can easily lose sight of it and lose sight of what, like, the traditional, like essentially Billy's values at the start: cleanliness, standards, customer, like, satisfaction. Are these things getting, like, are these things getting, like, up to his standard that he put in place originally? But it's hard. It was hard. Like 6-7 days a week, every week for the first 2 or 3 years. It's only starting to get in now that we've got bigger teams that I can take a wee bit step back.
And then getting to that stage, you do the mental hanging up another one. So see, at that point, was it more of a location thing for you, or was it just you were always kind of planning to open something somewhere else at that point?
I never owned, like, At Lunch at the time, so I was kind of like, I'm doing all the work. I don't want to go, but I'm willing to go because I can see I can do this myself. We had a good relationship. We have a great relationship, me and my dad. But I was like, I need more here. Like, I'm doing all the work, and he was like, if you could prove that Tophskis can, like, take money as well as At Lunch, you know, like, and it can be successful, then happily, you know what I mean, split it with you. And that just gave me, like, I'm one of the people, if you gave me a target, I'm going to do everything. They had that. I'll open Sundays, you know what I mean, I'll extend the opening hours. I'll do anything I've got to do to achieve my targets. Within a couple of months, I'd achieved, like, what I'd set out to do. But Tophskis got a lot of buzz because I kept chips. I kept chips for Tophskis. And like I say, I posted them online saying, I did the Conor McGregor quote. Oh no, we take part, we take over. That's like big words. Embarrassing, like, when you look back at it, but it seemed to work, and, like, Tophskis got a buzz about it. People started coming in. Like, I've had a picture on my phone. Like, first time, like, we never done sitting. We'd only ever done takeaway. Every single table, like, December, I think we opened in November. I think in December we had every single table filled, and I'm just sitting there like that. What have I done? Did you think it would happen that quick? No. I thought Tophskis will have a bit of, like, a settling in period. I think we opened Tophskis in, if I'm right, in November. I think it'll take till July. By the time December came, I was like, we were ready for walking it. We were like, this is too much. Like, I don't know how he split myself. I was like, I'm here, I'm there, like, At Lunch need me, Tophskis need me. I'm trying to train the staff up in Tophskis, but At Lunch are still getting absolutely swamped. How did you manage that at that time? Never. just carnage? It was absolute carnage. Like, I'd love to tell you, wrote out a business plan. Autopilot. I just, like, worked every day. And stuck at it, asked the people. I always take a lot on as well, like, myself, like, my staff will always say that, like, I'll try and take any sort, if I can take workload off them, I'll take it off them, you know what I mean, like, do the extra, like, because they gave me so much, they gave me so much, but I don't know how it was autopilot, like, round about, I remember, like, Boxing Day, No, I can tell like Christmas Eve.
Right.
Chaos. Chaos, and I'm like, I just shut at lunch.
Right.
I've came to it like, so I'm like, right, you guys are shutting at 2 of the day. Tophskis is shutting at 3. Goes to Tophskis, and there's actually a full house, and I'm sitting there like,
well, no shutting at 3.
it's Christmas. Chaos. Remember, like, everybody was burnt out. Everybody was burnt out, and I was like, enough's enough.
Right.
Enough's enough. We need some like downtime, you know, like especially at Christmas, end of the year.
Were you feeling that as well, but like going between the two of them?
See, be honest, like I just take it. I took so much pressure on it at the time. Like I was just taking my stride because at the end of the day, like, I'm there to make money. So I was like that.
Aye.
But my manager, Dan, I've said to him, we need to talk.
Aye.
About the staff I'm talking about, saying like the standard's quite low today. Like he's come in, he's like, I'm done with this. And that's one of my best mates. And I'm like, what? I was like, what are you getting upset for? I was like, I'm upset at him, not you. But I look back and I laugh at it, but it was madness. It was madness. The location time, it just happened by chance. I was going to go look at other places, and then my mum was friends with somebody in the Church of Scotland.
Right.
They were like, we've got a massive big tea room called the Haven. Do you want to come see it?
Right.
And went down, and I was like, that will never work.
Right.
Never work. I didn't think it would ever work.
Why?
Like,
What made you think that?
When they first came to me, like before I'd seen it, and they said to me it's in a church, and I was thinking like, I don't know, I went to BB's back in the day, and I was imagining
floor.
I mean, like playing what's the time, Mr. Wolf. Like I was sitting there thinking like, this cannot
PE benches.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, so eventually I got down there, and I was like, they said to me the congregation's quite big. It's like 200 on a Sunday.
Aye.
I was like, I can make 200 work.
Ideal.
If you get the people in, like, especially how Cathcart's stunning, absolutely stunning. Like the grounds of the church are stunning. I was like, this place is beautiful. Church is absolutely stunning. And I was like, if I can get this right, still, I think we could do something here.
Aye.
That's how we ended up at Tophskis. Like,
and it's an unusual location as well, which is good.
That's what I was like. I was like, people like that now. Like, they like to go out and explore. I don't really think like Tophskis was a big test to see if people would travel. Like, would it take away for that lunch?
Aye.
And I was kind of like, if they travel to Tophskis and like we don't lose, because like I say, we were getting bombarded with the amount of customers coming through the door, like no ticket system, and I was like, we need to split. If we can split the custom, keep people happy in the south side, keep people happy in the West End and Anniesland, I was like, the standard will go up because like just the amount of like we're putting out, like, it was just so hard. Like, but I think like we're getting there. They're two separate companies as well, and like they did different products. Like it took time with Tophskis, whereas like I think a lot of people were expecting at lunch too.
Like, it's a different concept.
It's a completely different concept. It's got loaded fries, where at lunch never had loaded fries at the time. Buffalo, like boneless chicken. I was like, so it was all this stuff that we were learning at the time, how to, like, I mean, the best process. Again, you start from scratch again, you go for the equipment, and you start upgrading the equipment in time. Like, you've got the stuff that at lunch I've got, but you need them, like fryers, for example. We started with 2 fryers, and like, I'm talking about like tiny things, like thinking,
long did they last?
About a week. And then you've got, once you change the fryers out, you've got to upgrade the electrics.
Okay.
Then you need the 2 fryers, then you need another 2 fryers, and then the space, like, it's ever changing. And you've got to be willing to invest the money in it, like, to make some money.
And I suppose that's the thing, because you'll get people that will look at it and go, oh, you must be rating it in, but they don't see the cost element that comes in if you're going to a new unit, or even your existing unit. If you're changing something on the menu, it's all the equipment that comes in off the back of that. And as you say, if you're changing a fryer, the electrics have got to get changed, and it all costs money. Do you know what I mean? It's
staff. Like, that's it. That's the one thing. Like, people always think like, oh, you make a fortune and whatnot. And like, but forget like the bills.
Aye.
The bills alone, like
Aye.
the absolutely like. No, it's part and parcel of it.
Aye.
Spend a lot, but it's at the time as well when you're smaller, you don't have buying power.
Aye.
Like people will say, like you get a bit of buying power, like the more you spend. You know, start to get like these companies that you buy, like they say, oh, like if you take this amount,
Aye.
you can get this price.
Aye.
You know, like
Aye.
you don't get that at the start. Like it's easy, like it's harder at the start.
Aye.
It becomes easier as long as you're building relationships with these people. You know, but it's been mad. It's been a mad journey.
So far. And now I'm wondering, obviously you've got South Side, West End. Surely the East End has got to be back in tender at some point.
He's coming back. We were talking about this. We've always spoke about the East End. Like I'm desperate to go back to the Nest.
Aye.
Like that's where I'm born and bred.
Aye.
You know, that's the scheme I've been chasing.
Same mate.
And Denniston, you born and bred?
No, I was Ballanark.
Ballanark.
Aye. So I again, no, you know yourself. One of the places in that area.
I'm excited.
Aye.
I'm really excited because there's a lot of people I know that it's not a struggle, but they would prefer it local to them,
Aye.
where it be
Aye.
Hag Hill, the Parade,
Aye.
you know, I mean Duke Street.
Aye.
But it just needs to be the right unit.
Definitely.
We've looked at units. We looked at one in Alexander Parade. We looked at one in Toll Cross, you know, and Mount Vernon. At one point, I lived at Mount Vernon, and that's somewhere I'd love to go. Mount Vernon, Baillieston.
I lived there, I know. I've done it at Briarwood.
Did you?
Aye, down at the train station.
I was Butswood. Butswood's where I lived.
Oh, right, no, yeah. Even places like that, but it would be
I know.
pandemonium.
I think like as well, like if I can suss out how you get this the delivery service sorted,
Aye.
that just adds to it as well.
That was the I must have get about 50 or 60 comments minimum when I said Chris is coming on, he's the questions. What about delivery? What about Just Eat? What about all these? And I'm like, fucking. But then I suppose obviously you're busy enough. Just now.
I try and tell people that it's something that I would always look at, and then it's easy saying like, oh, just to deliveries.
Right.
Standard of food goes out the window.
Right.
It absolutely goes out the window.
Aye.
That, like, I want customers getting the best. There's been, you know, anybody that's ever had curry sauce,
Aye.
you get 4 minutes. that's congealing on you. That's going to look like shockwave curry sauce, like real quick.
Definitely.
And I'm like, I've got a reputation to uphold. So I cannot have it like, you know what it's like? How long, bacon for example, bacon goes cold after a minute. You know?
If it's sitting in a delivery motor for 20-25 minutes.
Like, and that just go like that. Like, you're just surrendering the standard of what you know, all your hard work, and you're sending it out for 20 minutes. I used to do deliveries. A lot of people, that's how I know, like, who are the real OGs. You know what I mean? I used to do deliveries. And I would be like, delivery, that's a hard job. Like, I don't think people understand how
constant.
I was having a school, St Thomas phoned me. They were saying, Chris, can you do a £100 order? And I'm like, hi, no bother. And then Bears Den get with it, you know what I mean? And they children, they earn money. They were like, we'll beat St Thomas order. And I was like, I'm coming. And I would go up and try and, like, I was half an hour late to that one, like 45 minutes late. And you're just getting like,
and that's only 2 places. You know
that's what I'm saying.
Imagine
like,
a Friday night.
I was trying to do it on a Friday during the day, like myself, and I was at Drum Chapel and like you name it, doing like Scotstoun, everywhere, like trying to get like drum up extra business. And then I was like, you know what, like the staff need me in the building. Like it's all good and saying like take the short term. Because we never had like deliveries at the time as well. Like sometimes you end up block of flats. You know what I mean? Place is absolutely like, no, like I say, like I remember one guy, let's just say maybe some criminal activities going on in that flat. He's got a pit bull with him, and I'm just like, he could just take us out and take all, you know what I mean?
100%.
But
you realise how dodgy a situation you're in when
you're wondering. I'm like, brilliant. Brilliant.
Oh, tremendous. And the thing is as well, it's not as if you could just date with 1 or 2 drivers. You would need...
I know, that's my problem.
Like fucking Amazon, you'd need like 20 drivers out there.
Like you say, like you'd have to like cap it at like 2 mile. 2 mile cap.
How do you do that? But do you know what I mean? It's,
exactly. How it gets to somebody's at 2.5. Will you take my money? And I'm like, yep.
Aye, it's hard.
It's a nice problem I have.
Aye,
it's a nice problem I have. Like, I'm kind of like trying to stay away from it as much as possible. You know, especially because I could not have done it during lockdown.
Aye,
it was far too busy.
Were you getting a lot of calls for it at that time to start it?
I get it. I've been getting calls for it like for 2 years, 3 years, and I always say to them like the standard will go down. Like, because you know what it's like, your chips, how many times you had a Chinese on a Saturday night, you've been like, it's freezing.
But it's the same, I find it now, like obviously you've got Uber Eats and all that, and when you get McDonald's at a drive-thru, it's called.
Yeah.
So if you're getting it on a delivery, by the time 40 minutes comes in, the chicken's talking to you.
It's not
by the time it gets to the house.
That, and you're getting absolutely raging.
Aye.
It doesn't matter if Gordon Ramsay delivered that. You would be raging. Like,
what's that Kevin Bridges singing it? You're waiting on the Chinese and you're just pacing up and down the hall.
I've got it.
40 minutes in.
By the time you've eaten, you're still raging. Yeah, I mean, you're just happy it's there, but that's I just couldn't deal with it. Like, it's too much. I'd rather people came, collected, had their stuff there. That's on them. They can decide when they we'll have it ready for a time. That's why we've got time slots. Come, you order it for 10:05, it'll be ready for 10:05. You know.
Would you rather get another site first before looking at that side of things? Just for that ease of people coming in?
I think it really depends on like post-lockdown, you know, where we end up. You know what I mean? We've had like restaurants have had quite the brunt of it for a full year. And I just can't go like that. Like maybe it's their turn for like the next 6 weeks, 6 weeks to 6 months. Pardon me. For takeaways, you know, like takeaways will always be busy Friday, Saturday, Sunday night when people don't want to, like, they don't want to cook. So it's an option. It is an option for us. So I've tried. I'm kind of looking at it just now because restaurants are going to get such a boom. Maybe it's time to say let's trial run it for 6 weeks.
See how it goes.
It goes. Like, but I just don't see how. I don't think the technology, like you get hot food bags and you get ice boxes. I just don't think they're good enough, like, to keep food at the optimum temperature. You think about it, like, and who do you prioritise? The customer at the front door or the customer in the house? And that's where I get, like, that's the problems that keep me up at night. You know,
but as you say, it's a good problem to have at this point because you've got the option, and you touched on it there as well. But how was COVID for you, kind of company wise? Because it was, as you say, the kind of food industries took a massive hit.
I think it's pretty great. Like, considering like we're busy. Like, I realised early doors, I was like, we are going to need a system here. We need to approach, like, because COVID, like, need to social distance people. If we were going to go back to, like, I wasn't really sure what we were dealing with at the start as well. Like, it's kind of like the same way everybody was, and I was like that to the staff. We're out. We're not coming back until I know what I'm dealing with here. Like, I'm not quite sure. Your safety's paramount to me. Like, I don't care. Like I said to you, I don't care about the money. But I'd rather they were safe. So I shuts down, like, shuts the place down, and at Glasgow and Tophskis shut them for 6 weeks. I didn't have to. Because I wasn't really sure how clear, like, the guidelines were. Like, I've seen some places were open, some places were shut. Like, some for me, that was a bit of a risk at the start. Like, how people were just like
the full fear factor at that point.
I was like that. I don't want to be the reason. Like, why my staff and you know what I mean. Like, they mean everything. They've gave me everything, so I cannot risk them. So went back after 6 weeks. Mass on, like, again. But during these 6 weeks, I was planning. I was like, we need somewhere, we need an app, we need something, like, to split up the custom. And I don't really know, like, I don't know if a lot of other places were kind of planning like that. Like, you know, it's like your local takeaway, like, it's just walk in. I was like, we can't afford, like, we're tiny. We're an absolute tiny wee shop, but like, we could literally have one in, one out. And you weren't even allowed people in. They were allowed to stand at the door and, like,
so if you've got 30, 40 people at the
if
one
it's raining,
time,
if it's raining, what are you going to do then? We're going to wait. So I was like, we need an app. And my dad was kind of like, I'm not sure if an app costs money. Like, they basically gain money away. And I was like, if we can get a customer, it's an easier service. You've, like, they can see the full menu then, what's in offer. Like, it was just about getting the right app. And I approached I've been to a couple and seen a couple, and I get invited out to Down the Hatch in Edinburgh. They're kind of similar to what we do, and they were great with me. They were just brought me in. Like it's quite surprising when a company does something like that. Like that's what I'll always be a fan of theirs, because they will just like come in and have a look and see how we operate. Because, like I say, we're two separate cities. Like, I'm not going to affect them; they're not going to affect.
But you still got some companies that wouldn't extend that hand. Do you know what I mean?
Just a great team, and a great guy. The guy who runs it, Moose. So they let me see it, and I was like, I think this is it. Like, I think this is a system that works for us. Like, if it's working for them, like they're kind of like good couple years ahead of us as well. I don't know how long they've been running, but that's a solid team, like, and a solid system they've got in place. And I was like, I think that'll work. And all of a sudden, we reopened, put the app live, and there's like, I think I was doing like 5 to 10 minute slots, maybe the first day. Every slot goes. Next day, I'm like, right, okay, we'll extend the opening times. All the slots go again. And I'm like, this isn't happening. Like, this is not happening. Reduces it to 5 minute slots. I think we had 96 slots a day, and they were 88 were getting filled. Something crazy like that. And people were saying, "Oh, you can't." Like, people are coming travelling, but people, it was like, it was happiness for them. Bit of food, like, it was the only thing they could look forward to.
I remember trying to phone Tophskis 2 or 3 times, and there was no slots left. And see, when you finally get one, you're like, buy the menu. Like, I know,
and that's what I think people, because they had absolutely nothing to do at the time, they were just like spending, and like, I'm like massively humbled by it. Like, it's massive that people travel for all of Scotland and don't really know what to say. Like, you're trying to tell people you like stay socially distant, but you also want to, like, I'm massive on people finding your own happiness. You know, do what makes you happy. As long as they were, like, we were masked up. As long as they were getting their food, they were happy. You know, so try to keep it the standards as high as possible as well, and make it food fresh. And it was mad. It was absolute madness for like a straight year. I think we shut down in the March and must have reopened. Must have reopened early May or just before May, and non-stop for the get-go.
Were you worried at that point about losing momentum? Did you think it would be as busy right away again?
What I did was I stayed busy during lockdown. I stayed busy. I was posting every other day, like posting home meals.
Keep it going.
Yeah. I did a wee bit of business with Be Inspired. Like, they were asking me, like, can you put up a recipe? Yeah, like, you can post salt and chili chips, how show people how, because we didn't know how long we were going to be in that.
Definitely.
And it was keeping people were getting like engaging with my dinners. You know, I was getting slaughtered because I says a Kunzel dinner because it had some balsamic crisps in it, and they were like, let's keep you over here. So, but that kept me sane. Like, just still interacting with the people, asking people, what can we do? You know what I mean? Like, what are you looking forward to? Like, I think me and my fiance, we made like made a tray bake. Me and her just came up with it. Like, I said, you want to go to Asda? 45 minutes in Asda, you get chocolate. Came here, and then all of a sudden you get 5,000 like likes on it, and that's when you know. That's when you know it's a winner. Like, and you needed to. But it was just stuff like that, like. And then people come back. Oh, I can't remember what we called it. I think it was something like the El Blanco or something like that, like, because it was the white chocolate. And people were like, "Oh, have you got that? You got that?" Like, I don't know how many times I've seen it. We have never recreated that, but just because during lockdown, it was just something like. And then TikTok came about at the time. Like, people who had the biggest social medias, like, if you were still. A lot of people might have just down tools at the time and said, "Oh, I'll take 6 weeks off." I was 6 weeks, kind of like 6 weeks on. How can I engage people? How can I see like what they want? You know what I mean? Like what they're interested in. But it was fun. Like, TikTok must have done wonders for TikTok at that time. Like, everybody I knew was dancing to The Weekend at the time. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely. That's my first memory of lockdown, is like 3 weeks of people doing videos and sending them like all that, like The Weekend, and it was just constant. But from your point of view, like, the food industry's jumped on it because it's the perfect
Yeah.
If you're just putting a wee short video out there, you're going to do it about something that people want to eat, because that's the buy-in away.
I did a business like webinar where I let my accountant and had been invited on, and I said to them, I was like, I'm going to start a TikTok, and like I think everybody was kind of like, is that no for wins? And I was like, but people say the same about Instagram. People say the same about Facebook. Like is that no? You know what I mean? For like that's where everybody is. You know, and I was like, I've not got a lot. I've only got 10,000, but 10,000 is like enough for me.
100%.
Like, to try and keep. But again, it's another customer base.
And even at that, as you say, at that age level, that's still people that will come in with their mums and dads or whatever when they're out, and it's still more people that will buy.
That's the way I look at it. It's just potential, a different market. It's a different market that you can say that's a potential customer. You know, can you find something that they like? Now, I'm terrible, absolutely terrible at TikToks, but I'm trying. You know, I'm better than Instagram, but that's the way it moves. Like, look at MySpace. Who uses MySpace? You know, like, eventually, like, but somebody did bring up in that business webinar at the time, and they were saying, like, a lot of your interactions will be video interactions going forward in the near future. People prefer a video to a picture. And I was like, right, okay, start making videos then. You know, like start showing people like how you know what I mean, how you wrap a wrap and like what goes into a wraps, you know, like people love that. Like
100%.
Nothing better than seeing a cheese pool.
And it's always you always look at them when you're starving.
I know.
And I always do it when I'm looking at something, and you'll see something online and you'll be like, we need to go there. Yeah. At some point, and it's planted, and then once you've been once, that's you. You're just going to keep going back.
I see a lot of people, like I know a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, every single day he posts, but to be fair, sometimes see when I'm posting them on, I'm like, oh sweet Lord. I can't even look at it because I'm like, I need that in my life today. The only difference is I'm going to work, you know, like, but I know what people like Cajun fries, like people just love Cajun fries. So post them and people are just like going nuts for it. They need it that day. Some people just like that. That's the way I am. The place is putting on a special, like I'm going that day. Go try that special.
100%. See if it's a Saturday or a Sunday, the boyfriend or the girlfriend is like, that's where we're going. Yeah, that's it. Next hour.
Yeah, if you're too hungover or like you're not really what I think takeaway is changing. I think people's habits are changing, and I think like especially during lockdown, I think people were kind of like they didn't have any reason to go get dressed up or whatever. Like so, going to a takeaway was like easier. It was a chance to show your standards. That's what I felt like. It was a showcase, like a platform you were never going to get again. When was the last time restaurants shut?
Exactly. Never happened.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's never happened, and this is the one chance that you're going to get people for Kilmarnock, Dundee, you name it, everywhere. Companies try your food. Like there's no, like I say, like I don't expect to retain every customer. If customers are happy, then I'm happy. That's one thing I've always said.
Love that. Right, as I told you, we got a lot of questions, a lot of just statements like, get a fucking delivery driver, get on Just Eat, tell him to go on Uber Eats. I'm like, I'm not his PA. I'm fucking just getting questions here. One that came in quite frequently was obviously the two shops are growing massively, but from your point of view, is there any kind of big mistakes you've made or anything that's happened and it's just no went to plan for you and you've just kind of held your hands up? And
I've made a million mistakes. I made a million mistakes. Like there's no businessman on this planet that will tell you that they made 100% right decisions, still make mistakes to this day. It's like you could have to be Richard Branson, even that guy makes mistakes, but probably minimum. But where do you even start? Where do you even start? Like, I think you've got to be honest with the customer and say, like, I'm just like you. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. I'm the first to hold my hands up and say that's not good enough. That's why sometimes I think like social media can make you and break you. You know, like I try to think like don't read too much into the comments, but at the same time, I just ask customers come to me first. It's easy. It's easy to post online, say you get a rubbish one. You know what I mean? It's like rather than just come to the source. I'm the type of person that will always solve it. If I think there's an issue, I'll investigate the issue with the staff and say, wait a minute here, how did this customer end up with this? You know, that this is on us, this isn't on them. They deserve the best. It's their money. Without them, that we're not here. And I'll constantly, like, I've made a million mistakes. I don't even know where you would start.
What's the biggest kind of learning you've taken? Like, what's the biggest lesson you've learned for when you've kind of come in from that retail background to kind of going through to where you are now? What's kind of the biggest thing you've took away from it all?
Money doesn't buy you happiness. That's the one thing I would say. Like, a lot of people think that that's quite morbid, isn't it? Like,
it's true though.
I think a lot of people think, like, and I've not enjoyed the ride. Like, I've not, like, because everything was happening so quick. You've got to take a step back and go, wait a minute here. Like, this is like, there's no really. I'm trying to be modest. Like, there's not really like a following like that. That. For like a cafe, you know, like that's what I say. You like talk about legacy, like talked about like wonderful places such as like Salino's, Koya's that have got a name. You know what I mean? And I look at their social media and say like how many followers. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I think you've got to learn how to enjoy it. You've got to try and forget. I think good things, like, they happen to good people. Yeah, I mean, if you're honest with people as well, like, people will forgive you. One thing I'd like to tell people is, like, I'm just as hell-bent on making it as good. You know, like, a lot of people, like, I just think they think, oh, just get the money, get them. I don't care about money. You know, like, if I learned that at a young age, like, it's not about money. It's about, like, making people happy. You know, like, and that if they're happy with their food, I'm happy with their food. You know, if they're not happy, then I'm not happy. I want to know where we can do it better. I've listened to these people. I've asked them, like, you'll see me in the comments. Tell me, how can we improve your service? Service is massive in me. The front of house team. I did front of house for the first 2 years. The guys know how I want the customers treated. They want treated like their royalty. You know, like getting like spoke to like an actual valued customer, because you can see what it's like in big companies. Like, just get you out the door. I don't want that.
It's like a numbers game, isn't it?
I don't care about that. Like, it doesn't matter. I'd rather have 100 people that were happy than 500 people that were. Yeah, I mean, like, only 200 were happy. You know. So I think you've got to learn how to enjoy it. Like, that's the biggest thing that I've kind of took away from the business is take a step back. This thing's more important than paninis. You know, family, for example, like family. I've spent so much time trying to drag these businesses, like, that I forgot about just the important stuff. Like, you're forgetting, like, you've no visited your gran, or you've no seen your niece. Like, that's what's valuable to me. Like, I've sacrificed with, like, when me and my fiance should have been away because the shop needed me, and it's time to try and enjoy it a wee bit better.
How does she find that side of it? Because obviously, again, it's something that people don't see. So they'll see you grafting away. They'll see all these followers. They'll see everything going in. But what they don't see is you're no seeing your family at points, and you're missing things. You're missing birthdays, etc. But
she's she hates me talking about the business. Like, she's I say you're Mrs. Lynch. But she absolutely loves it. But she also, like, it was not a strain, but it's like any couple, you know what I mean? Like, you want to be able to go see your partner at the weekends, and unfortunately for us, like, that's when my busiest day is. We've had to sacrifice that for the last couple of years, like. But like I say, I'm not going to say, like, poor me. I'm not going to say that, because like, people are spending their hard-earned cash. And it's just part and parcel. You know, it's just something that I've got to deal with, and, like, I've got to manage my time better. I went to see my accountant. Like, I think it was a couple months after Tophskis. Like, Tophskis had reopened, and I was like, this is struggle. Like, I don't know how. This is two businesses. Like, and he was like, your problem is you're still working on the front of the shop in both businesses. He's like, you need to take a step back. And I was like, how do you manage running? Like, you must be the most stressed person on the planet, dealing with people's tax and different companies, this, that. He's like, I run 4 companies. And I'm like, right, okay, there's levels. There's
Aye.
levels. Like, he's just learned, and he's like, take a step back and oversee the business. Be a better businessman. You're being a staff member.
Aye.
You know, like, you need to be
Aye.
a business owner. And I've always been like, if the staff are under pressure, I'm there.
Aye.
I'm there.
Jump back in.
I'll be the extra pair of hands. Like, I'll take a bit of the pressure.
Aye.
I'll explain to customers, like, we've got to wait. Like, I've never been a hands off.
Aye.
I think, like, if you want to if the business keeps growing, then eventually it will just be, you rely on other people.
Aye.
You know, I've got a really, really good network now that we've built it up.
Aye.
People I can rely on, people I can trust, and each set's a shop.
Right.
It was working wonders over
Aye.
lockdown. But at the start, pardon me, at the start, it was madness.
Aye.
Just all on
Aye.
yourself, and you're taking everything home with you. If you make a mistake, it was my fault.
Aye.
You know,
Aye.
customers upset. You know what I mean? Like, and that's fine. That's
Aye.
fine. It's part and parcel of the job. I'm not like I say. I'm no one for feeling sorry
No.
for myself. I want to just make it better.
Aye.
How can we improve? You know.
100%. And as you say, you're still firing out text messages at 2 a.m. to folk that are right to know when you're...
I know. Okay. Like I say, it would be nothing worse. Like, if I never engaged. See, like,
Aye.
see if you miss it,
Aye.
it grows arms and legs. If the customer never got what they wanted,
Aye.
then they say, by the way, I messaged you. Like then that's when
Aye.
it goes to social media. That's when it becomes a problem when you don't say, wait a minute here, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Aye.
Like 9 times out of 10, that customer will go, you know what?
Aye. Fair
if
enough.
you're willing to make it better on your side, that's good with me.
Aye.
And I always try and make it right. Always try and make it right with people and say, you know,
Aye.
we're just humans as well. We make
100%.
mistakes.
Aye. 100%. A random question that I told you about earlier on. So, I think it was Kirsty Riley had said, went to school with Chris, ask him about what he used to get out the Mario Kart boxes. And as soon as I read that, I was like, this is either going to be really dodgy or there's a story here.
No, it's not dodgy. It's like, you know, I was telling you how bad I was at school.
Aye.
I was interested. I never had a Nintendo GameCube in our common room.
Aye.
They were like, we bring in the game. Like, I'm like, I guess we shot this Mario Kart in. Let's see what's addicted. I mean, like me, all the guys, every single day. Like, that's where I was just like, blue shell. The Mario Kart is the blue shell. Like, that is there any better weapon in a game when somebody's about to cross that line and you just like, there's no better feeling.
Game over. No.
There's no better feeling you're crossing DK Mountain. Just drop that wee shell on top of them. But I'd say, wow, we wasted so much time on that.
Aye.
No wonder I failed all my exams. like I should. They were supposed to be. They were supposed to be when you were studying, and I was having Mario Kart tourneys.
It's hard though, isn't it? It's hard.
But look, yeah, you know what I mean,
That's it. Proof's in the pudding now. That's not a message to kids, by the way. Just putting that out there before I get dogs abuse. Another one that there was quite a few of that came in, and obviously it's a wee bit more specific. People were saying, what's the biggest kind of financial risk you've taken so far with the company? And I know you've opened it, Tophskis as a standalone, but would that probably be your biggest kind of risk outlay-wise?
I think so. Like, that's pretty massive. Like, the time when you're opening any new business, like, you're kind of like having to reinvest a lot of money that you made. The more that's again, I get advice off the guy Moosey down the hatch. He says to me, you reinvest the money, you make more money on top of it. Keep reinvesting the money. But it's a scary thing to do. Like, that's where it's good to have a business partner. I hate spending money. I absolutely hate it. Like, but Billy's opposite. He loves spending money. Like, he'll phone me up and he'll be like, I spent this amount, and I'm just having kittens. And I'm just like, what have you done? That's us. Done. And so that's why it's great having a business partner, because he is willing to pull the trigger and stuff like this. Whereas, like, he loves a bargain as well. Don't get me wrong, he's cost his money, but like, so have I. I've cost his money because I've waited too long and said, no, like, we're not getting this, and a deal just drops. You know what I mean? But it's always scary, like investing money. Like you never get to a stage where I don't care how much money you've got, if you love just spending money, like you've got something.
Are you still at that now though? Do you still have that kind of
100%? I'm still at that like mentality. Like I hate spending it. Like I hate spending it because you never know when you're going to need it. And that's kind of like you kind of look at you could reinvest like massively in the business and say like, all right, okay, you could do up the front of the shop, you could do this, you could do that. But then when it boils down to it, do people care about that when it's takeaway?
Aye, true.
When they're in the car?
Aye, they'll just want their stuff in a way, aren't they?
That's it.
Aye.
It's just some of the things that I try and go, you just got to weigh it up. The pros outweigh the cons.
Aye.
And that's when it's time to reinvest. I think it's like that's my problem. I've been too slow to reinvest at times when I've been noticing it's getting busier. Get the better product, get the better equipment, makes it better for the customer. I'm a lot better now when it comes to equipment. And like, if I know it's going to benefit the customer, then I'll do it. You know,
just get visions of you on the first days with two fryers and like a queue of 100 people waiting.
It was the worst of times. It's just tickets coming in. Did you know see the tickets now? We could do the tickets in like 15 minutes because of the equipment sale and because the people like the people have grown with the company. Like so it's pretty mad. Like
unreal. A few people had asked obviously the fact that you're in that partnership, and do you prefer that? Do you prefer having that somebody kind of, not so much beside you all the time, but just for decisions and talking things out sometimes?
I think when like it boils down to it as well, like it's family. It's family first. It's family first for me than everything else. I think a lot of people, they forget, like, because I'm the voice, like, and they go, oh, like, I do this for my family. You know what I mean? Like, same as everybody else does it for their families. You know, try and give them a better life. It's my dad first and foremost, before he's my business partner. So if I'm out of line, like, you'll be the first to tell me. You know, he'll keep me trying, like, I would say that, like, I don't come across very humble.
No, I know what you mean, but sometimes you need that though. If there's two of you, do you know what I mean?
I'm confident. I've always been confident. Like the more successful, like I say, it's just a cafe at the end of the day. But the more successful the cafes became, the more I started to believe. I was like, wait a minute here, like. If anybody else had this opportunity, where would they take it? You know, like where did like a small business owner at the time, where did it end up? You know, just got to stay humble to your like true your roots.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, listen, East End boy.
No.
Yeah, I mean, whose family like we never had anything growing up, so again, I still don't really have like compared to the goals change. Along the way, you know what I mean, whether it be followers, whether it be money. Like that's the way I see business is how what's the next thing? What's the next goal? Can we get that? I said that to you from day one before got offered the even for River Island. 16 hours full time, manager, more money. You know what I mean? Like it's always been about like progression for me. But then eventually I go like, right, what's the next step? And that's kind of like I'm kind of in the middle now, like where I feel like the next progression step is like I know there's two routes. It's franchise or mobile. You go mobile, and that's something I think the idea would be cool.
Definitely
pulling up in Dundee, go see all the COVID.
But then you've got things like the football and all that as well, and
we got
events, and
we've been offered like as times went on, we've been offered like. Was whispers there like stadiums having a full kiosk, and that would just carnage. I've been in these. Like, I tell you something though, I do a better job. Pies, it's criminal. You know
Candle
what I mean?
wax,
it's
horrific.
Macaroni pie. It's just. A lot. Sometimes they don't materialise, and it's you're quick to bump your gums and say, "Oh, this is coming up," or "That's coming up." And for example, there was a place in town wanting us to go launch the town just after Tophskis opened. 3 months later, like you're getting to like literally getting ready to sign it. March comes. Best like when they've took off. Just because of COVID, you know, and sometimes you're like, count your blessings and
Aye,
go,
definitely.
like, it was something I was massively interested in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You just go and signed in that, like,
Aye.
dotted line, and you don't get it, you'd had a premise in the town.
Aye.
Without made money.
That's it. And I suppose what your restrictions would have been totally different, probably.
Yeah. Like operating out of somebody else's building and stuff like that. So these opportunities come like it's just the right opportunity. And then I kind of went like that to myself, like, do I want to be? Then I'm back working for somebody else.
Aye.
I'm in their building, you know, like I'm their staff, like, and I'm kind of past that, you know. Like it's super nice guys that I had to do business with. They were great. The deal, everything was perfect, and just
timing. But then it's worked out better.
That's worked out, and like I say, like just because of COVID, like there's no way I could have done that. Like say, like I could have jumped between Tophskis and that lunch, well, like, and then running a third business at the same time and having to be on site, training people like during a pandemic.
No, that would be. I think that would finish it. To be fair,
I think it would have at the time.
The whole point of this podcast, obviously, as I'd said to you before, is to speak to people like yourself who thousands of folk will see online. They'll see the business, they'll see the brand, they'll see the stuff that goes out, but they don't see the person, don't see the story, and they don't see the graft that goes into it. I think that's where people look at businesses and think, oh, he's got it easy, he's got 100,000 followers, but it's not like that. Do you know what I mean? And anytime I speak to somebody, be it in a studio or audio, I always ask them, like, is there anybody you know that you think would have a story, or somebody that you think would be good to talk to about what they're doing?
I don't really vouch for people a lot in business. The people I vouch for, the people I trust, you know, the people I've worked with personally that have helped me, like help me reach a new level. You know what I mean? For example, like Peter from Mental Munchies. As good as guy as you'll meet in business. Started off a sweetie stall. Suddenly he had 2 shops at one time as well. And like me and him met at a time that when he was like, everybody was talking about Mental Munchies, but I'm the type of guy to reach out. And I was like, I'm Chris, like I want to do business with you. Like if you're the same type of guy as I am. I always tell these people, like, never cheat in business. I'll never ever, like, call a spade a spade. I'll always pay. You know, top guy. So he's one person. My accountant's another. Yeah, he's super clever guy. Like, that's what I was saying. I was running 2 businesses at a time. Ryan Jenkins, his name is. Jenkins the Bar Accountancy, it's called, on Instagram. He's a super clever guy. And then Sarah, who does Pudgy's Bakery.
I've had Sarah on.
You've had Sarah on?
Sarah was my second ever interview.
What?
Honestly.
You're kidding me on. I texted her last night and she was saying, I'm going to give you a shout out and all that.
100%, mate. I'll show you after this.
You're joking.
Sarah came on. I spoke to Sarah the day after she quit her job to do, like, baking.
It was me who told her to quit the job.
That's unreal.
Aye.
She was my second ever interview. I can't remember what it said. It was a Thursday. She'd quit her job on a Wednesday, and that was her last day. It was
like, I kind of said to Sarah at the time, I was like, this demands here. Like, you need to, like, I think she was already, like, contemplating it, and I was like, there's this, we could do this weekly. People buy, like, if you're willing to create, like, I've tasted my ween cakes.
Oh, stuff's amazing.
And I was like, you need to be the person, like, that people want this every week. You know, if you're trying something different, people will come. That's the one thing I'd say about business as well. Like, people want different. I don't ever look at other places in Glasgow and be like, what are they doing? I need to be doing that. I'm looking at, like, California, like, I'm looking at, like, you name it on Instagram, like, all over the world, just to see, like, what's new?
What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, like, what sells? What do I look at and I go, wow. In fact, I'm sitting up at 2 a.m. Yeah, I mean, starving. And I'm like, what am I going to bring? Yeah, I mean, like, can I replicate that? And then I was saying that with Sarah, with cakes, like, look at her with cookie pies.
Nice.
Cookie pies have just went. never seen anything like it.
Aye, she was brilliant, but she was so nervous because
Was
she had just left.
I cannot believe this, by the way. I texted her last night saying, like, I'm going to give you a shout out tomorrow, and she was like, oh, I'm amazing. She's getting slaughtered.
The other thing that I was going to ask, and it's more around, obviously you'll see, and you'll probably get a lot of people that will get in touch with you that maybe want to start their own business or do their own thing, be it in food or whatever, but from your experience, what advice would you give to somebody in that boat of, I'm ready to start, but I don't really know what I want to do?
So, I think if you've got to go for it, you've got to put everything in the table. I know it's a cliche, but like, if you want it, you know what I mean? Like, I think that if you really want it, I wasn't willing to go back. I was not willing to go back to River Island. Like, and that's no disrespect to the company or no disrespect to the people. Like, I love the people, love the company. Wasn't willing to go back, and that's how much I wanted it. You know, like, I think you've got to really look at it and go, how much you're willing to sacrifice. Because I was willing to sacrifice everything, like, to make it work. Don't promise my fiance, promised my dad, like, was willing to work as hard as anybody. First up. That's what people forget. Like, they forget that I shop. I was up at 6:30 every morning at the door for 10 to 5 to 7. And Annie's Land, shopping first. Sometimes it's up as early as 6 to go to cash and carries before these places, like I say, before these places offered to deliver to me. I had to go there.
You're still at that early.
So I think you've got to be willing to sacrifice. One, you've got to be willing to sacrifice. The customer's got to come first. Customer's always got to come first. And you've got to engage. Engage the customer, like, speak to them, ask them what they want. You know what I mean? Like, it should never be about you. It should always be about them. That's the way I see it. Like, that's just... There's no many things. I think every business is different. Every somebody could say, oh, he's talking rubbish. You know what I mean, that doesn't work. It works for me. And you've got to look after your people as well. Like, you've got to look after your staff. Like, what you give to them, they'll give it back tenfold. You don't just want some boss that's not going to ever come to work. Just a figure. You know, like, they never see. They want to see somebody, like, you know, what to see somebody in the trenches with them. That's willing to get their hands dirty. Like,
100%.
I've been there in the days where there's, like I say, there's been no electricity or like, it's hitting the fan. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's nothing you can do. And they respect that. They'll not leave you if that's the case, you know.
That's the loyalty, isn't it?
That's it.
And the last one, which I don't know, just randomly, obviously with your whole retail side, a few people had messaged saying he must have some stories about River Island. He must have something that he can share, and I was like, I don't know. I'll ask.
I don't know.
I'll ask a question.
It depends. Like, I was there for so long. Like, freaking shoplifters. You
probably got a mad shoplifter story.
I've got a couple of them. I remember one time we come back and I'm sitting there, man. The boys, we're in the fort. The boys jump. I remember my manager saying at the time, she was like, he's definitely just stole jeans. I know it, like, he's got the jeans on, like this, right? So I'm just like a daft young boy at the time. This is when you were allowed to stop, like, shoplifters. I'm like, I'll go get him. You know, I'll go get him with the security guard. Like, and again, security guard's not allowed to stop him either. So you've got to be the guy. And I'm thinking, I'll just 19-year-old, you know what I mean? Bam, like. So I'm like, stop! Like, probably like, what is that? Bad Boys. Try and stop him. So eventually we've stopped him, and I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to come back to the shop. You left your jeans, like, thinking, like, as soon as he gets, like, he's like, oh, like, thinking, like, I've left my jeans, but he's, like, actually just stealing jeans. We gets back to the shop, and I'm like, my manager's like, right, you sit in the office with him, and I'm sitting thinking, I'm like, how did he take half the jeans? Like, how did he get a tag half the jeans? I'm just sitting I'm back to the guy. The jeans there, mate, how did you cut the tag? He just does that with his shirt and pulls out the biggest pair of scissors. Like, I'm like, and I've just been sitting there like this whole time.
Just you and him in this room?
Just me and him. I'm like, my bottle's just absolutely crashing. And like, it's just some of them, like, some of the mad things, like, shoplifters is the biggest one. So many of them. Like, it was a big pressure on the company to try and reduce. But then, like, you're only allowed to do so much, you know, and like, being a guy, like, a female-dominated store,
Aye.
like you're the
Aye.
one that's expected to step up.
Aye.
Like I say, like it's only so much you can do these people. But I'm
Definitely.
trying to think if there's any. Heather, that's what kind of broke me. Like in River Island, like I had the worst day ever. Like that's the day that I remember. Like
Aye.
this is it.
Aye. Aye.
This is
As soon as the scissors get worked
it.
out, you're like,
No, that day. This is a day I was kind of like, I'm done here. Like,
Aye.
tried to open the shop. Like I laugh about it now, you know what I mean? But I had an absolute panic attack about it back in the day. Tries to get the automatic doors, right? You have to put a code in,
Right.
unlock the doors. Still to this day, it's like a double lock.
Right.
Well, I just got to go that way. But I'm new. It's my first ever day holding the store. Turns that one left. That one's no turning. Right. So I'm like, somebody's forgot to lock that
Aye.
last night. So I'm like, now it's so low, you can't see if it's locked or unlocked. It's big, massive, like glass doors.
Aye.
So I'm like, right, okay, code in. But like I say, first day holding
Aye.
the flagship store in Scotland. All of a sudden the doors just start bang, bang, like as if they're going to like smash. Like I don't even know how much these glass doors are worth. They're probably worth tens of thousands of pounds, right? So I'm just sitting there like, oh no, like I can't get like the first job of the day. I can't get the doors open. During this time, I'm doing the banking,
Right.
and I've left the office. 16 grand sitting lying out in the office, and I've managed to get the staff to come around the back of the building.
Right.
They've all walked in the office, so the double handling's gone. So like they're like, that's just been, that money's been exposed. Goes downstairs, eventually gets another manager to open the doors. A mannequin falls down to a customer. And I'm just like, you'd think this was an actual sketch.
Somebody setting you up.
Like my day, I'm going to get absolutely sacked for this immediately when my store manager comes back tomorrow. The worst day. The worst, as bad a day as you could have had. And I was just like, no, this isn't fun.
You know it's bad when you remember all the details.
Oh,
That's when you know.
I've had that. I've played that day in my mind a million times. Like, and then it's the problem. You're waiting to get chewed out the next couple of days when you see your boss. And
full fear.
Oh, the worst. But luckily, yeah, I mean, like,
That's unbelievable.
I was like, I'm done with retail. I'm going to go sell rolls.
Aye, I was unsure. I'm no now. I'm out. Oh mate, Chris, it's been brilliant. Even for me, it's good to see the person behind a company that's grown so fast. And as you say, it is the social media, word of mouth. You're not even advertising. Your customers are advertising for you.
Yep.
And it's non-stop. And going for just doing hot rolls to where you are now is mental. And I know we were talking beforehand, but you're humble. You do come across as humble, and it's as if like it's just a reward for all the graft you've put in, and you don't see it as finished yet either, which is amazing.
I think there's a long way to go. You know what I mean? Like I say, you got to remain like loyal to your roots. You know, and remember where you came from. You know what I mean? Like, don't care. It's just part and parcel of it. You know what I mean? I'm just lucky. Lucky, and I worked hard for it as well. Like, and it's just a combination. And that these people have chose to promote our food, you know, like, and everything. Just like I always say that, man. It's like a million guys have left River Island, a million guys have left their job to go do something else, and it never worked or it worked. And it's working just now. I'm just going to keep putting in like as much effort as it takes to keep our customers happy, and that's when it boils down to it. Like that's where I want to be. You know,
unreal, mate. Superb. Loved it.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant.